Hi, welcome listeners to the third episode of A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. Page number 10. It was the heart of sums. Father Arnold wrote a hard sum on the board and then said, "Now then, who will win? Go ahead, York. Go ahead, Lancaster." Stephen tried his best, but the sum was too hard and he felt confused. The little silk badge with the white rose on it that was pinned on the breast of his jacket began to flutter. He was no good at sums, but he tried his best so that York might not lose. Father Arnold's face looked very black, but he was not in a wax. He was laughing. Then Jack Lawton cracked his fingers, and Father Arnold looked at his copybook and said, "Right, bravo, Lancaster. The red rose wins. Come on now, York, forge ahead." Jack Lawton looked over from his side. The little silk badge with the red rose on it looked very rich because he had a blue sailor top on. Stephen felt his own face red too, thinking of all the bets about who would go first in the elements, Jack Lawton or he. Some weeks Jack Lawton got the card for first, and some weeks he got the card for first. His white silk badge fluttered and fluttered as he worked at the next sum and heard Father Arnold's voice. Then all his eagerness passed away and he felt his face quite cool. He thought his face must be white because it felt so cool. He could not get out the answer for the sum, but it did not matter. White roses and red roses, those were beautiful colors to think of. And the cards for first place and second place and third place were beautiful colors too, pink and cream and lavender. Lavender and cream and pink roses were beautiful to think of. Perhaps a wild rose might be like those colors, and he remembered the song about the wild rose blossoms on the little green place. But you could not have a green rose, but perhaps somewhere in the world you could. The bell rang, and then the classes began to file out of the rooms and along the corridors towards the refectory. He sat looking at the two prints of butter on his plate, but could not eat the damp bread. The tablecloth was damp and limp, but he drank off the hot, weak tea which the clumsy scullion, girt with a white apron, poured into his cup. He wondered whether the scullion's apron was damp too, or whether all white things were cold and damp. Nasty Roche and Soren drank cocoa. That day people sent them in tins. They said they could not drink the tea, that it was hogwash. Their fathers were magistrates, the fellows said. All the boys seemed to him very strange. They all had fathers and mothers and different clothes and voices. He longed to be at home and lay his head on his mother's lap, but he could not, and so he longed for the play and study and prayers to be over and to be in bed. He drank another cup of hot tea, and Fleming said, "What's up? Have you a pain? Or what's up with you?" "I don't know," Stephen said. "Sick in your breadbasket?" Fleming said. "Because your face looks white. It will go away." "Oh, yes," Stephen said. But he was not sick there. He thought that he was sick in his heart. If you could be sick in that place, Fleming was very decent to ask him. He wanted to cry. He leaned his elbows on the table and shut and opened the flaps of his ears. Then he heard the noise of the refectory. Every time he opened the flaps of his ears, it made a roar like a train at night. And when he closed the flaps, the roar was shut off like a train going into a tunnel. That night at Dalkey, the train had roared like that, and then when it went into the tunnel, the roar stopped. He closed his eyes, and the train went on, roaring and then stopping, roaring again, stopping. It was nice to hear it roar and stop, and then roar out of the tunnel again and then stop. Then the higher line fellows began to come down along the matting in the middle of the refectory. Paddy Rat and Jimmy Maggie and the Spaniard, who was allowed to smoke cigars, and the little Portuguese who wear the woolly cap, and then the lower line tables and the tables of the third line. And every single fellow had a different way of walking,